Hey everybody, Matt here. You've made it this far. We're at the quadratic equation. It kind of feels like just kind of a hallmark step, something that's, you feel like you've graduated from algebra once you understand the quadratic equation. The quadratic equation, the x, is going to equal the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Just memorize that. I've seen lots of different tricks. I've seen kids sing it to like Pop Goes the Weasel and do some other things. Honestly, and maybe this is just for me, you just got to use it and do a bunch of problems and it'll start to lock in. Now, what does A mean? What does B mean? What does C mean? What's all that? Well, let me go ahead and throw an equation out here. Let's see, I've got a couple over here. Let's go. 3x squared plus 5x plus 1. 3x squared plus 5x plus 1. Here's what the a and the b and the c mean. It has to deal with the coefficients of the x squared, the x, and the number. So whatever is in front of the x squared, we call that the a. Whatever is in front of the x, we call that the b. And whatever number is floating out here, we call that the c. So in this equation, that's our a, that's our b, and that's our c. And then we just plug it in. Well, let's talk about how to plug it in. Well, first of all, what is this? This is going to be a equals 3, b equals 5, and c equals 1 for this equation, okay? So once I do that, and I am going to run out of room here, but that's okay. I want to keep this right here. I don't want to lose him. But let's talk about it. Opposite of b, that means you're going to flip the sign. So here it's 5, so I'm going to write -5. If that was -5, I'd write +5. So I'm just going to flip the sign of the b. Now I'm going to write plus or minus square root of b squared. Don't start doing this in your head. Just write 5 squared. Plus or minus, I've done the plus or minus. 5 squared minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 1. Okay, and I'm going to keep this going all the way through. All over, you need to make sure the fraction sign goes over even what the b was, 2a, which is 2 times 3. My friends, take a look at that. All I did was plug things in. I didn't do anything special. I just took the formula and I just plugged things in. Now I'm going to do the math. I'm going to work down here. -5, I can't do anything with him. Plus or minus square root of. What is 5 squared? 5 squared is 25. What is -4 times 3? That's going to be a 12. 12 times 1 is 12. So 25 minus 12 all over 6. Well, can I do something there? Sure I can. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. And I'm going to write -5 plus or minus the square root, and what is 25 minus 12? That would be 13 over 6. Now what do? You know what you do now? You circle it, and you say, that's my answer. That's your answer. That's what your x is going to be. Okay? We're not asked to solve that usually and come out and get like a decimal answer. We just leave it like that, and that's considered in its smallest form. Okay? And that's basically it. Now, what if you end up getting something like 16 here? Well, if you got a number that will pop out, then you do actually have to move on, and maybe I'll find an example that does that. However, if it did, it meant you didn't need to do this quadratic equation. It means you could have done it another way. The only time really you're supposed to use quadratic equation is when you get something where you're like, I can't factor this. I don't want to do complete the square because the middle term is odd. Complete the square kind of works nice and easy if that middle term is even, but it's not, and it's just all messed up. There's nothing else I can do. You can use the quadratic equation. Some people like the quadratic equation so much that they don't care what this looks like. This could look like something we can just easily factor, third term positive, make 2 things and solve real quickly. But they like to throw it in here just because it's going to work. Will it work? Yeah, it will work. But it's longer. It takes more time. You want to do the other ways. Okay, you only want to use this way when you don't really have any other choice. So if you're confused, you're not sure what to do, Just use this. Don't worry about the method. This method will work for all of them, okay? All right, so let's clean the board up a little bit and let me do another one for you. Okay, I've got a new one up here right now. First thing we want to do, if we're going to use quadratic equation, well, first of all, why would we use this? Well, first of all, I'd have to do the third term, or sorry, the first term, do a 7 and a 1, and you know, find factors of 1. When I multiply, outies, innies, do all that. And I've done all that, I've tried all that, and it just won't work. There's nothing else I can do. If that was an even number, I could probably do the completing the square, but that also gets a little messy with the leading term. It's just a little messy. We're going to use quadratic equation. So what's my A? My A is 7. I wrote 8 to the 7th, sorry there. My A will equal 7. That's your A. Here's my B. Now be very careful. You have to use the sign too. My B is going to be -3, and my C is the number floating out here, so my C is going to be -1. So when I do the quadratic equation, I'm going to go back to that, and I'm going to use these as my A, B, C. So let's do it, okay? Well, there's my formula. X equals opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Let's do one, okay? So here my X is going to equal, I won't write X equals, but I'm just going to write this. Opposite of B, well, my B is -3, so I'm just going to write 3 plus or minus the square root of, my B squared is -3, let's just write it like this, okay? -4 times A, which is 7, and times C, which is -1, all over 2A, which is 2 times 7. That's the nasty part, okay? Now let's start working it out, okay? My 3 stays the same. Square root of, what is -3 squared? And it is in the parentheses, so the 2 goes to the negative sign as well. It's a +9. Now, look at this. -4 times 7 is -28, times -1 is a +28, all over 14. Okay, and all that is going to equal 3 plus or minus square root of 28 plus 9 is going to be a 37 all over 14. Now I look to see if there's anything else I can do with it. If the 3 and the 14 can like divide or reduce as a fraction, there's stuff I can do. Okay, if the 37 was a 36, I could pull out and do something, but it doesn't. That's it. Guys, that's my answer, all right? Now, the way you're going to really lock this in, again, is to go to the worksheets and do these. And I have worksheets, and I'm going to go one by one, and I'm going to help you through this. Here's a taste, okay? But let's do the worksheets, and problem after problem, I know you guys are going to feel great on that. I'll see you guys on the worksheets.